All right, everyone, good evening. Here we are on Wave Extra for your Tuesday, August 19th. We're going to start really quick. If you can make out what's going on the right side, way in the background there, thanks to our SkyTrack camera with our view, of course, on the Kentucky State Fair and from our viewpoint of the SkyTrack at South Louisville. Yep, see those flashes of that lightning. By the way, closer to where we are at our Wave News studios, we got a little smattering of that rain. So hopefully, for you folks still trying to enjoy your Tuesday night out there at the fair, if you could find just some dry shelter, some place to go, stay safe, and away from any of the rain or any more potentially dangerous weather out there. So just want to give you all that live view outside as we start this hour, wrapping up our Tuesday. I'm Mosesso Sadia. Always appreciate you joining us, whether you find us on your Wave Now app through your smart TVs or by connecting with us on all the different social media channels like YouTube, for example, and Melanie connecting with us that way. Appreciate Melanie doing that for us, and I'm checking all the different channels we've got on our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X. ZK Hodge letting us know, yeah, he's seen the lightning from downtown Jeff in southern Indiana. Hard to miss if you were catching all that as we're looking at the clock, 8:08 to keep moving through our Wednesday night. Lots of stories to get to. Want to let you all know, and in fact, ZK mentions what's going on from the vantage point for our weather happening in downtown Jeff out in southern Indiana. And perhaps a story kind of dominating the headlines is the rather gruesome details of this murder investigation. A man accused of killing, dismembering his father in a neighborhood. Well, he made his first court appearance today, and with that, we've learned Bryce Winicky arraigned this afternoon on charges of murder and abuse of a corpse. The prosecutors in this case, they're asking that Winicky serve life in prison without the possibility of parole. So that is where they stand in their appeal to the court. This was where our Fernando Garcia Franceschini spent his afternoon gathering the latest details, and Fernando letting us know, of course, the victim's family, in this case, quite visibly upset inside the courtroom today. I want to take you to some of those images that cameras were able to grab. Family members were crying before the hearing even started, and once the suspect walked in, you could hear sobbing coming from where loved ones were sitting. Understandably, as Fernando had put it, a tragic situation. Winicky's attorneys are now going for an insanity defense, claiming they have reason to believe Winicky was, quote, unable to appreciate the wrongfulness of the conduct at the time of the alleged offense. Defense attorney Larry Wilder apparently is a close friend of the Winicky family, and he says he has known the suspect since he was a young kid, and this was his comments to us after the hearing had concluded.
Great kid. Yeah, he's quiet. He and my daughter were good friends, and the whole family, which you saw there, who was suffering a tragedy twofold, they were all there, and they support Bryce. They support each other.
So as you heard there from attorney Larry Wilder, Winicky, though, is being held without bond tonight. That was the latest we had heard from when we were able to leave the courtroom. Now, Winicky showed up in court today, at least from the angle our reporting team was able to get inside the room, that he had an injury to his head. The prosecution confirmed that that injury was the reason why his hearing that was supposed to happen on Monday was rescheduled to this afternoon. So whatever happens next, of course, we'll make sure to let you all know about those updates on all the different ways you can connect with Wave News, chiefly among them being here to stream on our news channel on wave3.com or the Wave News app. More stories to cover with you tonight as I'm setting up some different video here. There was another update in a case a lot of people are following, and this has to do with two brothers indicted in a child sexual abuse case and respective charges they're involved in. A work release request was denied for one of the Stoner brothers. So that is the update there, and I'm going to take you to some video we have from inside the courtroom there. So this is the case against Donnie and Ronnie Stoner, facing counts of sexual assault, or sexual abuse, sodomy, and rape dating back to 2005. We know of at least 4 victims in the indictment. During the hearing, Judge Mitch Perry set their trial for next August, so August 2026. The judge allowed medical and attorney releases from home incarceration, but he denied a work release for one of the brothers who currently works at a warehouse on Crittenden Drive. And this is what we heard inside the courtroom.
Your paycheck is from JCPS still. Correct, but it is a warehouse where he packs boxes. It's the CB Young at Crittenden Drive.
I understand. Well, now I understand. You're opposing that?
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to decline to do that, at least at this early juncture.
For background, Donnie Stoner was a former Manual High School head football coach, no longer though an employee of JCPS. Ronnie was a Fern Creek offensive coordinator in 2017, who was then reassigned from his position in August of 2023. Coming back to more big headlines, this having to do with a new lawsuit against the top leader within Metro government. Mayor Craig Greenberg is now fighting 2 lawsuits from fired city employees. On one hand, you have a former deputy chief of staff, Keisha Dorsey, who has accused Greenberg of defaming her when she was fired for misusing taxpayer dollars. So it's that defamation case. In the second matter, this is where our Wave News troubleshooter and reporter Mark Stevens spent his time focusing on his reporting today. It's from a former assistant director who says her firing or decision to fire her was decided during the mayor's campaign. And this is our report from our Mark Stevens.
Attorney David Borum tried to convince Judge Mitch Perry this case is not normal, that Jessica Thornton was not fired for a real reason.
Judge, this is not a run-of-the-mill employment law case. This is...
And why is that?
Because we have an internal... The group of people who are represented here today all dislike Jessica.
He says he's got some proof of that, including from former Deputy Mayor Keisha Dorsey, who swore the fix was in using a bogus human resources investigation.
The decision to terminate Jessica was made before the investigation was ever began.
But one of the city's lawyers says her claim doesn't add up.
Somebody from Teamsters talking to somebody in the mayor's office. It doesn't allege that Mayor Greenberg was talking to anybody.
And lawyers representing the company that investigated the complaint against Thornton says it's too late to sue them anyway.
Whether it happened or not, it's precluded by the statute of limitations.
Judge Perry didn't make any decisions Tuesday, but another lawyer working with Borum argued he should allow the case to keep moving forward.
Those have to be taken as true at this stage. So that all of this discussion about, well, the mayor would never do that, or McBrayer's law firm would never do that. Or
To find the truth of what really happened.
That was Mark Stevens reporting. One of the bigger questions Judge Perry is going to have to answer is whether the mayor can be sued as an individual, not just as the mayor in that official capacity. Thornton's lawyers, again, the former assistant director there, is arguing this plan, as she is alleging, it was concocted before Greenberg became mayor, and that should not, in turn, then give him governmental immunity. And so we thank our Mark Stevens for that update for us this afternoon. And now moving on to a moment to reflect on a life well lived and a lasting impact for the horse racing community that gathered today to honor the legacy of Hall of Fame trainer D. Wayne Lukas. And I want to play you some of the video from today's ceremony. So, of course, a fitting tribute with the call to the races there. Family and friends gathering at the First Turn Club at Churchill Downs for the celebration of life. Lukas, a 4-time Kentucky Derby winner, also won the Kentucky Oaks 5 times. He sealed his career and his moment in history, his place in it, after he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1999. If you remember, Lukas passed away at the age of 89 on June 28th this summer. And leaving, of course, so many people who wanted to remember his contributions and the way that he impacted their lives. You're hearing, of course, the part of the tribute there. Yeah, just to some of the musical tributes there, but a celebration, a solemn one for the life of D. Wayne Lukas right there. Okay, everyone, 8:16, and we have more stories to, break down for you as we're unwinding this Tuesday night. And again, we're going to take I'm going to take another quick look to see what the camera is like from our SkyTrack network with a view looking at the Kentucky State Fair at the Expo grounds, and you can kind of notice those are sprinkles of rain falling on top of the lens right there. So hopefully does not completely ruin folks' plans to enjoy that night out. And we know there's the concert set to go on at the Expo Center, but hopefully we'll see how things pan out. And we'll of course let you know if there's those updates that do mean having to postpone any big shows or those rides. Obviously, something we'll try to let you know as soon as we can find out. So we're going to take a quick commercial break and be right back with much more on tonight's Wave Extra. We'll see you in a bit. Welcome back, everyone. 8:19 on tonight's Wave Extra. Jose Sosaya here in the studio, Wave Now studio. Appreciate you joining us. If you're just popping in on the feed on our stream through our social media channels or on the Wave Now app on your smart TVs. More stories to get to as we're winding down our Tuesday. If you're, of course, familiar with as an institution that has been a paper of record for the community in the Louisville Courier-Journal. So the building that has been its home is now back on the market, but it does have a lower asking price. And see if we could pull up this vantage point from some of the drones and some pictures we do have. So we're learning Trio Commercial Property Group, they're now asking $6.3 million from a buyer to take over this office on West Broadway and warehouse on Armory Place. So we're talking 7.5 acres, 579,000 square feet, excuse me. So almost 580,000 square feet. Owners are trying to market it as an opportunity for either a film production studio or even a data center. Now, the building itself dates back to 1947. The Courier-Journal's parent company sold it back in 2022 for $11.3 million. The property was listed the very next year for a price of $14 million. By 2024, the price dropped to half. Dropped to $7 million, still was not selling. Public auction this March. Turns out there was no willing buyer there either. The Courier-Journal is still operating out of the space for now and hoping to see what might become of a potential transaction to take over this property. Moving on to more stories tonight. Tapping into the consequences of decisions at a local policy level, but how they tie in to national stories. In this case, the decision by the mayor's office, Mayor Craig Greenberg, defending what some have called a controversial decision to comply with the Department of Justice. If you remember, the DOJ had ordered the city and several other smaller government entities to hold some inmates 48 hours longer so that ICE agents could then investigate said suspects or the people in question for possible deportation. As a result of complying, Louisville was dropped from the administration's list of targeted sanctuary cities. And in this matter, our Wave News reporter David Mattingly wanted to look at the impact and the ongoing criticism surrounding it. By this point, we are almost a month into the Trump administration. DOJ is threatening to sue 32 mayors and governors for what they argued were these policies protecting immigrants. Mayor Greenberg is maintaining giving in at the point he did was the right call. And so here is David Mattingly's report.
I made this decision to protect the broader immigrant community based on the information that I had, based on things that I was told.
Attorney General Pam Bondi called it a major victory for the DOJ, saying Louisville should set an example to other cities. Greenberg says his decision to cooperate with ICE and put some inmates on a 48-hour hold will do more than stop a lawsuit.
I believe we will avoid seeing mass ICE raids in this community. I was looking to prevent that, to prevent National Guard from being in our city as well. And so that is the hope.
But while there have been no mass ICE raids or National Guardsmen in the streets, critics say Greenberg's decision added fuel to local immigrant fears of deportation, leaving uncounted residents feeling less secure than they did before.
Because I think people are seeing the leader of the city say yes to Trump, and people know Trump is anti-immigrant.
Carla Wallace is an organizer for Louisville Showing Up for Racial Justice. She says her organization has found in some cases immigrant children being kept out of school and families afraid to shop for food, despite Greenberg's intention.
We believe it opens the door to more repression and more targeting. You know, once you say yes to a bully, there's more bullying.
Greenberg's decision and its repercussions are the focus of a New York Times article calling it a risky bet. Cincinnati Mayor Aftab Purival is quoted in the article calling the Justice Department threats political blackmail. He said, the fundamental question we all face is, when does protecting your constituents go from trying to avoid confrontation to confrontation? When asked to comment, Greenberg declined.
I'll let the Cincinnati mayor, Mayor Purval is doing a very good job. I'll let him speak for himself.
And so that was that question and the reporting from our David Mattingly. Now, Greenberg, again, when asked on the record as David was putting this reporting together, Greenberg saying when he made the decision that about 100 inmates a year are subject to being detained at least within the purview of Louisville Metro. Since this policy went into effect, we did reach out to a spokesman in Greenberg's office saying 46 inmates have been put on these 48-hour holds, and that Immigration and Customs Enforcement has taken custody of 8 of those 46 that were delineated in the timeline. So that is the update on that. More stories right now as LMPD is also trying to solve not just, we wouldn't say just, the important violent cases that, of course, they have and are trying to resolve, but in particular, 2 cases that have gained a lot of attention, duly so, over the victims and how they were attacked, the 2 mothers recently. I believe what we might have just heard is a little bit of thunder above us. It's the beauty of the storms playing out live for us. And as I'm going to read really quick, I'm not going to get too sidetracked here. Punky Spunky asking why no storm live. I'll see if I can pull up a few storm cameras before we head into break to see the latest from radar and what other angles we can see from our network of SkyTrack cameras. So in essence, back to LMPD's investigations. We're going to start with one of a mom, a woman who was shot to death and a man in a hospital at an overnight incident. This is in an apartment complex in downtown Louisville. I'm going to play you some of that from the scene that we were able to obtain as we were finding out what was going on. So in this case, police telling us 61-year-old Melinda Doolin was found killed. She was shot inside of her apartment on South 8th Street. Police also telling us a man was found right outside and he had been stabbed. Officers tell us that he was taken to the hospital. He should live. He should recover. LMPD says they're trying to figure out if the 2 were in a relationship or what relationship they do have. And so far, they don't know any motive that was involved or if any suspects are also involved in the matter. Now moving on to, of course, what I was referring to here in the more higher profile murder investigations on police's and the community's mind. But so far, unfortunately, officers have not been able to arrest the two respective shooters who killed two mothers in these separate attacks. So what you saw there was a picture of the first victim in the timeline from last week. Police are still looking for whoever shot 23-year-old Rhodesia Williams at a JCPS bus stop in front of her young child, her little girl. This was at 10th and Chestnut. Police have shared photos of the shooter repeatedly, just trying to get any eyewitnesses to come forward with any sort of tidbit of information that could give them that next best break. So if you do recognize, obviously these are pictures of Williams, but if you were to recognize and go online and look for those pictures of any information on the case, again, this is one where police are asking that you do give them a call. And the other big case that they're hoping to find some sort of justice, no arrests either in whoever would have attacked and killed Jamia Offit. Police saying 22-year-old Offit, she was killed in the parking lot, or in a parking lot in the Chickasaw neighborhood. Outside of that, Food Mart, an innocent bystander, a mom of three. She was pregnant with her fourth child when she was shot. LMPD says they don't have a specific suspect in this case right now. So in either case, if you have anything to offer, you can call the tip line at 574-LMPD. As we're about to head to break, I was going to offer this latest little bird's eye view from our SkyTrack camera observing the Kentucky State Fair. You could see it's quite a powerful mix, contrast with the sunset and the colors shining through the clouds, but also you see the rain and the flashes of lightning still hanging up, the drops of rain hanging over the lens there as well. Not seeing necessarily too much foot traffic from this angle for folks out there on Expo Center grounds. So we'll have to check and see if for whenever the fun closes tonight at the State Fair on this Tuesday, how folks are managing to stay dry or make the best of it inside the north and the south wings. All right, we're going to take a very quick commercial break right now at 8:28, coming back in about 2 minutes or so. Appreciate you sticking out with us on Wave Extra on this Tuesday night. More stories coming up after this commercial break. We will be right back. All right, everyone, welcome back in 8:31 inside the Wave Now studio for tonight's edition of Wave Extra. Always appreciate you checking in with us as we're wrapping up, unwinding our respective weekdays. I'm Jose Sosadia. Always appreciate you connecting with us. By the way, shout out to any of you folks if you're joining us by the stream or watching on the Wave Now app tonight. Do appreciate you having come by. We had our Wave News Day at the Kentucky State Fair. As I bring up the image from our SkyTrack camera, again, it's just been a great vantage point. You can make out what's going on there, the skyline of the deep background right under that cloud, and just a bit of that creamsicle orange and yellow with a bit of the pink extending further, but a little glassy just because of the rain we know has been falling. Some of that rain kind of dropping down on us here at the Wave Now studios as well. So I hope you're staying dry out there at the fair. But again, a shout out to all the folks who came out, not just in the morning hours, but in the afternoon. Great to interact with you all, get to know you, get to know your names. It's just, it helps to connect with you. And again, so you can meet us, know that we're working as hard as we do day in and day out to serve what's going on in our neighborhoods and our shared neighborhoods, and to just do right by you all tuning in to watch us every day and every night. So as I'm flipping through some more of the stories I wanted to bring you all up to date with, enjoying the colors, by the way. I say that from the comfort of being indoors right now, so take that with the biggest grain of salt you would like. Okay, here we go. Let's bring myself back into the studio. So this was a story that, for those who've been 502 area code phone holders for some time, a decision we had let you know about not too long ago, but that this was something because there was some space running out in this matter. So any available phone numbers that exist, if they haven't been claimed yet, with the 502 area code to start. So that is running low. However, today, state regulators say they have decided what the new area code is going to be in its place whenever that eventually comes. That number is going to be 761. I'm going to bring this up just to remind you of this is an all too familiar series of numbers for folks living in our community. So all this time, the 502 area code covered North Central Kentucky, which includes Louisville and Frankfort. The agency involved here, it's the North American Numbering Plan Administrator, projects the 502 code is going to run out of numbers by fall of 2027. So to prepare for this, Kentucky's Public Service Commission has added that this new area code 761 is going to operate and offer the same kind of access to represent our neck of the woods in the same geographic region. Anyone who still has a 502 number, you can keep it, you will keep it. Once new numbers are needed, though, they will be assigned to 761, and there's a rollout date coming. Leaders say they don't know the exact date just yet, but guidelines require that this has to be in place at least 6 months before the 502 numbers do eventually run out. So something to keep in mind for whenever that day eventually comes, and we will all adjust accordingly, but we'll let you know just to anticipate that, and so it's not a total surprise when that arrives. I want to show you some more video from some updates on stories we have for you today, so we're going to play this video. And you can see kind of where this is, and thankfully no students were on this JCPS bus. This was in a crash this morning on 7th Street Road in Shively, and we're just getting the different angles there of the bus and what happened. We did learn the crash happened at around 8:30 this morning, right at that intersection with Arcade Avenue. Shively police saying it was a car that crashed into the back of the bus, and in fact, it got wedged underneath the bus. You could see the damage done. I believe it resembles sort of a smaller Kia car. It's a four-door there, white. Though passengers inside the smaller car reportedly were hurt. Another car was caught in the accident, but there was no one who was hurt in that particular vehicle. The bus driver was also not hurt in that matter. So, but again, no students inside of that JCPS bus when the actual impact happened, and for the most part, most people were not hurt, but there were obviously those inside of that white Kia car that police say were a little bit injured. Okay, another story for you. Parts of Bullitt County, you might have heard, they spent most of their day without running water after a water main break happened. That in part meant school was out for the day, so no kids having to come to class. Businesses also not really able to open their doors because they had no running water. So we sent our Wave News reporter Kirsten Foote down to see what the latest was on that fix.
Nobody can get water from the faucet. Nobody can take showers. Water pressure's down.
On one of the hottest days of the year, Mount Washington residents like Dylan Milburn are trying to get by.
Last night I couldn't take a shower. I couldn't flush the toilet. Couldn't get me a drink of water. So, I mean, couldn't get no ice. It just adds up.
Officials say the break is located near the Wawa construction area on Highway 31.
I seen the pipe that it was coming out of was split very badly. So, I mean, it just looked very nasty.
Bullitt County Public Schools students got an unexpected day off Tuesday. Without running water, functioning toilets, or HVAC systems, combined with the high temperatures, the district says it'd be unsafe for students. And shops around Bullitt County are affected too. This Circle K has signs hung up letting customers know their daily coffee won't be available. And they're in need of water bottle cases ASAP.
I've got 60 cases coming in, so hopefully we'll get that pretty quick.
Crews spent Monday night into Tuesday working to fix the water main break. While they said it'd be fixed around 10 Tuesday morning, it could be hours before water is fully restored to the city, as residents hope they don't have to resort to their last option.
I'd probably just hop in the pool, but that would suck bad.
Kirsten Foote, Wave News.
Appreciate our Kirsten Foote with that update. By the way, in her reporting, and this is just the latest update that I've been able to find, that as of noon today, Mount Washington's City Hall account on their Facebook saying water was going to be off longer than they had originally expected. I'm going to read a bit of what the post said. It explains, apparently, as crews had found what was going on, trying to work and fix everything, they ran into some complications, as City Hall put it, trying to restore service as soon as they could. But eventually, once the water is back, folks who get this water running back into their homes, it's still going to be under a boil water advisory. And so something to keep in mind, to boil that water before you consume it. And that city leaders did apologize for the inconvenience on that post. And one more thing, this is a shout out to, not just basketball fans in general. This might have started as a story where Kentucky basketball fans were going to connect. But if you're also fans of the NBA and just one of those better talents that would just himself carry a team and offer those highlight reels, making some all-star games as too. By the way, we were the first Wave News in the community to let you know that NBA pro John Wall was retiring today, the former UK basketball star, veteran NBA point guard, making that announcement in a video he released today. And this was sort of his quotes that I'm going to read for you here. "I gave this game everything I had, from Raleigh to Kentucky to the league. Every jersey I've worn means more than wins and stats." It was about representing something bigger. So those are John Wall's own words. Wall picked as the #1 draft pick in the 2010 NBA draft. He was a 5-time NBA All-Star, earned All-NBA honors in 2017. Wall was known from very early on. He's been known for electrifying play, ball handling skills, leadership on the court, notable dance moves in certain videos, if you've ever seen those. This retirement announcement puts a bow on an 11-year run for him in the league, mostly that association for him with the Washington Wizards, and that's an old school look for the Wizards right there for sure. And going back to those highlights for him at UK. A reminder, folks, the latest stories, updates we bring, and we refresh our homepage as often as we can. So here you are on the main page of wave3.com. Scrolling down, we of course have all the different sections for the stories, original content, our troubleshooters investigation, but essentially also the stories. We start and really focus on local, what's in your backyard, what's happening and all the different facets. And you can scroll down and we update the latest information for you right here. And so a great resource, a great tool to have. What I wanted to show everyone, since I have this angle, again, if you've joined us for tonight's edition of Wave Extra, I believe we just saw a little flash of lightning there. But the lens on our SkyTrack camera overlooking the Kentucky State Fair and the Expo Center. So the lens looking a little drier, but you're still seeing those flashes of lightning and those clouds leaving just that thin little stripe of the sunset coming through. We're at 8:40, at least from this angle, not seeing too much in the way of foot traffic, let's say. The Ferris wheel looking pretty inactive, if not fully stopped right there. So for whatever those updates are from what's going on at the Kentucky State Fair, and this is the beauty of having different devices to check in on. Let's see. Various lightning has caused some fires, apparently. We're looking at just falling some in St. Matthews and Linden, some transformers, of course, having been hit, clearing some crashes, according to MetroSafe. So pretty to look at, but we have the benefit and the shelter of inside if you're joining us on the stream as well. So hopefully that's not something you all have to deal with right now. Noticing, by the way, I'm going to bring myself back into the studio. Enjoying this small thread here from our YouTube viewers talking about when that time comes, that 502 numbers won't be readily available as a new number, and they will be, as one Crispy Brisket putting it here, limited edition. Don't know how the process there would work. If someone wanted to trade numbers, there could be something to discuss whenever that time comes. So. But again, I always like to say when that time comes, and we'll let you know sort of what the process will be rolled out, just to give you all that heads up. So it's not coming necessarily short term, but it is coming sooner, and time will catch up with every one of us. Here we are, 8:42. Appreciate everyone joining us tonight. The discussion might be surrounding what's going on with weather, and here's another view of the radar from our storm tracking team, and you can kind of see what's happening in our neck of the woods, stretching down all the way from just west of Shepherdsville and extending, of course, Springhurst, Jeffersontown, Neely Lake, and see how it's all heading east there. But that is where we will count on the storm tracking team to break down as we wrap up tonight what to expect for the rest of our week. So make sure to join us tonight on Wave News at 11 for what the storm tracking team has to say. For myself, what the stories we've been working on are Logan Perrone and his latest digging into that reporting for stories happening in our community. Appreciate you all as always. We're going to wrap up things tonight here on Wave Extra. We'll see you tomorrow at 8:05. Until then, take care, stay dry.